Okay. You starting, Fiona?
Okay, good. Oh, sorry. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Zoom recording. Thank you, the amazing Regional Vice President in Qualification, Daniela, for setting this up. This is her plug for all of you guys. You know, even if you're not in Danny's team, sidelines, we welcome you all. And really, this is a call to region. We want to. We're going to be doing lots of these. I'm speaking to lots of other regions and nations who are going to be doing this throughout June, okay? So there's going to be quite a few, which is really plugging for your team to help you guys go region. So Danny was talking to me about these online virtual kind of parties, and I sort of said, well, I know, you know, the amazing district manager, Christa Phillips. She is in our team, and she's a sideline to all you guys. And we always call each other sisters. We're all Arbonne sisters, which I absolutely love, and brothers. So she has been doing this business, for quite a while. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of introduction. But I mentioned Ella that she's the one the guru when it comes to knowing all of this stuff. She's the one. And so she's live on this call. We'll be speaking to her in a minute, all the way from North Carolina in the US. So we're so proud to have this international team. I know, Danielle, you said there's some time delay, isn't there, a little bit? So just bear with us, okay? So we'll try and not maybe, give some gaps in between asking questions and when Christa's speaking as well. So I'm just going to give you a bit of background about Christa. Okay, so she basically is married to Sean, who was in the military, and he was in for a long time. And I met Christa in the UK when he was posted in the UK. Christa is Swiss, actually, which is phenomenal, but she can't do it in Switzerland because we're not in Switzerland. How ironic is that? But she's built a very strong international business. So she was a travel consultant before doing Arbonne, and she loved it, she said. She said that she loved helping people with the vacations to visit family and friends, sending them on honeymoon cruises and other beautiful places. She found, however, that because her husband was overseas so much, they end up living in 3 different countries over a period of almost 9 years. And she has 2 beautiful little girls as well. So she volunteered for lots of support groups and became a stay-at-home mom. But sending the girls to daycare, she was not going to consider doing that, or a 9-to-5 office job wasn't an option either. So she was really at a loss. She then met myself and realized, and it's so funny, she says here, she was introduced to the business opportunity in network marketing, not being a salesperson at all. How many times have we heard this, guys? I never, ever thought this would be something I would do. But I ended up doing my own research, educating myself, and found that Arbonne and the attached business model is exactly what I had been looking for. So I'm going to pass you over. I'm just going to say the reason why Christa is so good is that when I met her back, she promoted to district manager in summer 2012, but I met her in summer 2010. And I met her when I was my personal way of doing the business back then was really through parties. That's what I was doing. So she got taught the way I did it back then. And that's what she carried on doing it for a long time. So when she got posted to Japan, she obviously, it's American soil, so they see it as US, but she couldn't do the business. She had to wait something like 6 months for the commanding officer to give her permission to run her Arbonne business. So the only other way she could do this was to host these virtual parties online around the world, which is what she did. And she maintained her district for 3 years in Japan, all by herself. But she has got a team in Hawaii and all around the world. So with no further ado, I'm going to pass it over. I don't know, Daniela, if you want to say anything more, and then Kristen.
I'm just blown away by everything, Christa, that Fiona said about you last weekend. And when she started telling us about you, we were all like, please get that woman on a call, because for myself and the entire team and sidelines, we need to hear this woman. And the fact that you've maintained district by yourself for so long is commendable. It's absolutely amazing that you've done that. You sound like an amazing woman, Christa. And I follow you on Facebook, and obviously you comment on my posts, and you are a remarkable woman. You're an inspiration, and I'm so grateful that you're giving up your time for us tonight, I don't know what time it is where you are, whether it's the morning or the day, but for you giving up your time to speak to us about how you've done this all online, I am so grateful from the bottom of my heart, and from me and the team, thank you so much. So I can't wait to hear your story. Thank you, Christa.
All right, hello, well, everybody, and it's 2:30 here p.m., so it's in the middle of the afternoon. I did not have to get up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. That's what I used to do when I was in Japan, when I did training calls or coaching calls with Fiona. And I apologize, my connection seems to be very bad, so if I do go in and out, that could be my computer, okay? So first off, before you go and do any virtual parties, there is a few things that you have to think about. First off, you cannot just go and post everything on Facebook or social media, because you need to be compliant with Arbonne, okay? So, you know what, we are not allowed to sell anything. We can't say, I'm running a 35% special if you're short of a certain promotion, or I have my anniversary coming up and I do a buy one get one free. You're not allowed to do that virtual party. Pretty much everything has to be done if you work on Facebook, it has to be done on a private messaging system, or via email or phone calls. Now, because I was in Japan, I was in a completely different time zone, and not really good with phone services and all, without costing an arm and a leg. I did a lot of just private messaging back and forth. Okay, now, second thing that I wanted to say, it is very, very time consuming. If you don't really get to see the person, that person cannot try your product right away, because it's going to take, when you do this in England or in the US, it's going to be later, because the mail is not going to take 2 to 3 weeks to reach someone else. So when I was in Japan, mail did take 2 to 3 weeks. So that whole virtual process sometimes was over a time period of 2 to 3 months. Okay, so those are 2 different points that I just wanted to say real quick. So how do you get started otherwise? You basically find someone, and in my case, it was someone that was not where I was. I got in touch with them and said, you know, I'm doing this Arbonne business. Can I introduce them about the products? And I asked them if they would do me a favor and host a virtual party. And if I found someone that decided to do that for me, first off, you have to train your host a little bit. You cannot just get and do an event and invite everybody onto that party. That's like when you get these phone calls where people try to sell you something. People are not really responsive if they're just added to an event like that. So you would have to go tell your host to go individually, ask their friends if they are interested in doing a virtual Arbonne party, if they're willing to communicate with the host over, you know, social media, and if they agree and say, you know what, I want to do this, then you can either do a group or you can create an event. Ever since we moved here, I haven't really done those. But either way, you will create a group or you create an event. And only once the host's friends have agreed to do the virtual parties, when the host adds her or his friends to that party. Now, once the friends are added, you as the consultant go and get in touch with that person. You will have to go ask a lot of questions. You will have to find out about that person, what their interests are. Do they want to learn about skincare? Do they have children with eczema? Do they want to lose weight? Do they want to become healthier? So always ask a lot of questions. Don't just, because I love everything with Arbonne, but I do specifically love the nutrition now, because it has changed how I feel, how I look, and just everything, my energy level and everything. So just because I love the nutrition products, don't go assume that do that as well. So go ask questions, listen, and it might not even be that they're looking for something for themselves, but like I said before, maybe their children have eczema or very sensitive skin. So it's going to be a back and forth. If you can call them, that is usually the best way, because you can answer or ask questions and answer them right away. It's going to be a lot quicker. For me, I pretty much did everything on Facebook or email. When it came down to placing an order, I did it getting up at like 4 or 5 a.m. and I made the phone calls. So have a sheet for every person. I had like a log with dates and when I was in touch, when the person got back to me. And then once they told me, you know what, I really want to change my skincare, what do you have? So again, if you will have to go back and ask, what are your concerns? Are you looking for an anti-aging skincare line, or do you have oily combination? A one-on-one or a party, you do that on Facebook or email or over the phone. And also never ever send out a sample, because you will be working with samples unless somebody says, you know what, I don't need samples, I'm gonna go purchase the product, because we do have the 45-day full money back guarantee. So if you have done a consultation really where a person really feels confident to go ahead with the product, you can order them right away, that's fine. But if they want to try a sample first, you know, after you have done the kind of the dialogue where you find out what they're looking for, again, ask if it is okay for you to send them samples, and then you know, confirm that once they receive the sample, will you try the product? Like, you know, most of you have read the GoPro book by Eric Worre. You know, when he books a one-on-one, you always say, or when you send some information, you confirm a date, and then you ask them, okay, when will you be able to listen or read what I'm sending to you? So let them tell you and let them confirm that, yes, send me the products, I will try the products. Okay, and then at the same time say, okay, once you receive the products, I will be in touch, and I will follow up to see how the products are working. Now, it's not always working, of course, even though they say, okay, I'm going to try the products. They do get the products, and many times the products just sit on the counter. Okay, so you're going to have to kind of go back and forth and either call or send messages that would say, oh, let me see, where's my notes? You know, for example, if you do a Facebook message, you will always keep it short. You don't want to write a whole story, because if it's too long, people don't have time, they're busy, they're going to dismiss. Okay, so you would just say, hey, how much are you loving those samples? Okay, and that would be about, if you know they have received the samples, about 2 days after, you would say, how much are you loving those samples? If you don't hear anything about back, if you have about 5 days later after they received the samples, you would go, hey, any chance your samples are still sitting on the counter? You know, just kind of probe them a little bit. Some people will respond right away, and you can go, you know, from there. But again, sometimes you need 3, 4, or even more times to contact them. So you would give about a week. So first you get in touch after 2 days, and then you wait about 5 days from that day when they receive the samples. And then you're going to do about a weekend. You would say, hey, it's your, you know, Arbonne consultant checking in. You know what? It's so easy to put off taking care of yourselves. So why don't you go and treat yourself? Because usually what I assumed was, if they did not get back to me, they had not started samples yet. Even though we had that conversation before, they say, yes, I do want to try the samples. Because if they've tried the samples, most times they get back to you. Okay. Now, if it's going to be even longer than 1 week, so you are going to go do another little, again, has to be short. And you would say something like, you know what, this is your pesky Arbonne consultant again, and you know what, I'm going to go take a break from following up, but I would love to help you with Arbonne when you're ready. Now, that last one, many, many times will actually trigger something in the people that you're in touch with, and they do get back and say, I had that a lot, where they say, you know what, I'm so sorry, I do have the products on the counter and I've been so busy, but please stay in touch. And if they say that, then you can go back and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to give you another week, and I will be back again in a week unless you try the products first. Okay. Let's see. So I have had a lot of, there is the non-success rate with doing the virtual business is quite big. Okay. Because people do say that, yes, I want to try the products. Yes, I'm going to do it then, and please send them to me. But they're busy, you know, things come in between. So you're going to do a lot of samples that end up just basically being wasted. But I have also got quite a few, so far I've had them for about 3 years now. They are preferred clients, and they reorder their skincare products, even nutrition products, every few months. So I've had success as well as losses from doing the virtual business, because obviously the samples do cost a lot of money. You will also have to pay for postage and like envelopes, and so it's going to be a cost. Of course, you can, I don't know how the UK tax law is, but in the US, anything that goes towards your business, you can write off. So you just make sure you keep a log. Let's see. Also, I know I posted on your group page, Danny, about always tell people about how to use the products. I know when you have a sample, there is instructions on the sample. People don't read the sample. So try and do instructions already with the person when you do the dialogue, the back and forth dialogue. But I always include, even now when I do a one-on-one and they're going to walk home with either the full-size product or with the sample, I include this little piece of paper. That's the old version of what I put it on your page, on the Wells District page.
Yes.
And it just tells you how to use this is the RE9 sample. So you have to tell them, this is very important, read the front and the back before you start using it, because we know that everybody has different skin, and the RE9 especially is so powerful that for people with sensitive skin, or people that have a lot of gunk they have used department store brand, they need to know that they may experience an initial breakout. And if you don't tell them that this is what's going to happen, they just automatically assume, oh, I had an allergic reaction to Arbonne. Oh no, what happens when somebody had an awful experience? That word gets out a lot quicker than a positive experience. Okay, so and I can post them again, the sample inserts, and I have them for the anti-aging, I have them for the calm line, I have them for the energy fix stick. I never really told them. I just, when somebody wanted to try the skincare products, I automatically just put a little sachet of the energy drink. And again, I clipped it onto the instruction sheet on what they can expect and what it gives them. And then I also wrote a letter. And on the letter, basically, thank you so much for becoming participating in my host's virtual party, that you read the enclosed instruction. And then you also tell them, when you don't know, that you will be in touch. Now, in the UK, you probably kind of know when it will get there. In the US, from Japan to US, a week or week and a half in, I just had to send them a message and say, hey, did you receive the products? And that's kind of, once they received the products, that's when I started how are the products working? Make sure you put in your bathroom so you don't forget to use them. And so it can be very successful, but you will have to probably get in touch with like 20, 30, or 40 people. It's very easy to reach people that you haven't been in touch in a while, or that are not there with you. So, but again, it's just a lot more effort on your side, and it takes a longer time. So that's I guess the basics on what to do. There is someone created what do you call it? It's called virtual. It's called. Let me try. I think it's called Netherlands. So that person designed a system to use online with parties or just with individual people, and they have rather than asking a lot of questions, you can send them a profile that they fill out, and in the profile it asks a lot of questions. For example, like, what are your skincare needs? Are you interested in nutrition? Are you interested in skincare? Are you interested in hair care? You can do it that way. There is a cost involved in that. I believe it's $30 or $50 for 3 months. So you can use that system, create anything. It's all there for you already, but the process is pretty much the same as what I just told you.
Is that
the following up and getting in touch? And
is that specific for Arbonne, Christa?
The one that was, yes, that is, and they are compliant with Arbonne. So it was built. Whenever they came out with a new system, they run it by Arbonne first to make sure it is within compliance. It's like, that the newsletter that you can have, whatever that person makes that newsletter, it goes to Arbonne first, and then they say yes or no. And once Arbonne put the okay on it, she can send it out. That's the Team News newsletter. And virtually executive national vice presidents, they're doing it the same way. So they have Arbonne behind
and what
them, basically.
What was it called again?
It's, for short, it's VENVPS virtual. So I can send if you want, I can do the Facebook link on your event page.
Yes, please.
I can post everything on a Facebook page group. There is, I don't know, probably 2,000 or 3,000 members on there. And when you go on there, you can request. It's free there. And you can also go to the system and you can kind of look around to see. You can do training for free. But if you decide you want to use the system, you can sign up, and they have, I believe, or back when I did it, they have a 7-day free trial. And then you kind of decide if this works for you or not. So I can post the link for the Facebook page and the link for the system. I can post that on the event, on today's event page. That way you can go look. But it definitely works without doing the system. It's just, I guess, a little more work involved because you have to think about your own questions, basically, or okay, what is next? And also they have a tracking sheet. They have it's like step-by-step, basically, instructions on what you would do next if you, once you receive the profile back, how to process the profile and what are the next steps. It's just a little, I guess, more help on your side. But yes, it is, there's a cost involved if you want to do that.
Christa, can I ask you, did you do it?
I did. The system, did it work? You mean?
Yeah, did it work for you?
It did. I mean, I did. It did help me maintain district. So I did get, and I got people to host for me that were not in Japan. They were, actually, one of the, you met her too, Christina, my very first preferred client, Christina Fishburne. Mm-hmm. She was my very first virtual host. But at that time, she was somewhere in the States. She's now in Hawaii. So I was in touch with her, and she loved the product. She was, always on the RE9 and the baby product. So she did the very first virtual party for me. And without being introduced to virtual, I would not have been able to get get her to host the party. So it was definitely, for me, it was great because being in Japan and not really being able to do the business. And like you said before, I had to go every year after I finally was approved to do my business on base. That letter was only good for a year, and I was there for 2.5 years. So I had to twice renew the letter to request that I can do my business. And so I was a little limited. So doing it virtually, and then if somebody did purchase the products wouldn't be shipped to me. The products would be shipped to the US directly. So that was definitely help to me. And I stopped doing it shortly before we moved back to the States, because now, with the one-on-one and meeting people, it's definitely quicker, I would say.
Okay.
But if you have someone that is not there,
another question.
Sorry, I didn't hear your question. I guess I got cut off, or my computer.
Okay. So when you said you were individually sending out people a sachet sample, instructions of how to use it, and a little letter as well, was that if you had a virtual party of 14, would that be all 14 guests to that virtual party before the party came? Is that how you do it, or would it just be to the host?
Yeah, you basically, rather than putting a date for next week, that party is open for like 2 or 3 months, because you're not gonna be able to close on a specific date, because some people will try to samples right away and say, you know what, this is awesome, I want to do it, and place an order. Some people, like I said before, they're just gonna have the sample sitting on their kitchen counter or wherever, and it takes them a week or 2 to even try. So yeah, usually when I did that, I had the party date about 2 months out. For me, even more, because the shipping itself was 2 to 3 weeks with the military mail and getting there. So about 2-3 months. In the UK, you could probably do it less than that, because when you ship, I don't know, what is it, like a day or 2 next, you can, the samples will be there already. So it's a day out, and then you get in touch with individual people. When you have an event, what you can do, and what I did is, on the event page or on the host, you can post information about the products. You can do bits of, the baby products and how they, are awesome with eczema, or you talk about the nutrition products, or you talk about the anti-itching. You can meet the products. What I do, I go on the source and do like now I'm having a party coming up in 2 weeks in South Carolina, which is about 4.5 hours from me. And so my host created the event, but because I'm still so far, so what I do, I post something every day. Like today, I posted about our awesome baby products, and I went on to the source and pulled up the ABC Meet the Product sheet, and I just copied from there on the top, and I put that in on the event page with the picture of the baby care. Yesterday, I put down, did you know that it only takes 26 seconds for any new body to reach our bloodstream? So I put something every day. That way, the people who are on there kind of see what kind of products we have. And then they might not ever get back, even though they're on the group, and you send them a private message, you send them an email if you have email, or you do a phone call, they might not get back to you. But if you constantly post something about individual products, they're like, oh my God, my daughter has eczema. And then they get in touch because of that and say, hey, I would love a sample of the baby care product. So it always helps to just do little bits of, product information every day. You can do that. And that's what I do now with my host that is 4.5 hours away. So does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Wonderful. It sounds like you're doing a lot of short things, not over bombarding people, but getting people in, just sort of doing little things to remind them every day.
No, it has to be short.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, it can't be long, because if it's too long, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead, Danny.
That information was great. I've made so many notes. I've just got a quick question. When you ask your host, Christa, is the host somebody that's used the Arbonne products before, or do you ask people that have never used Arbonne, or both?
Both, because you know how many people don't want to host the party at all because it doesn't really involve a lot. But when I do ask someone to host the party for me, they think like they have to do this huge setup and everything. So if they don't want to do a party themselves, to do a virtual party, all they have to basically do is, I even created the event for my hosts. That way they didn't have to do it, and then I made them a host themselves so they could add people. So it just seems that some of them don't want to do a party for you, but if you ask them, hey, you want to do a virtual party, and all they have to do is ask their friends if they would like to find out about Arbonne, join them in a virtual party, and make sure that they're okay, that they're going to be contacted, has definitely helped, because not everybody wants to have a party at their house, or they might not have a big enough room, or they have a roommate, or they just don't want to have people in their house. But if it's virtual, they, like what we do now, it's from your home, and it doesn't matter what's in the background. If your house is a mess, or if you don't have your own, if you share a room, whatnot, it just seems a bit easier for people to do that. They're more willing, I feel like, to do a party for you than opening their home and inviting people in. So I've done both. I've done people that do the products and other.
Great. And the host, I assume they would get all the host rewards.
Yes, definitely. It's going to obviously take a bit longer. It's not like when you do have a party and then a week later the host can redeem the rewards. It's whenever all of the host's friends or families or whoever is in the party has finalized either trial the products or ordering. So in the end, during this process, you're constantly in touch with the host and say, look, even ask for the host's help, because if you have someone that said, okay, this is what I want to try, send it to me, and they have it, but they don't really get back to me, you may want to just get in touch with the host and say, hey, you know what, I know Fiona's got all the products and she really, really wanted to try them, and but maybe you can just ask her and see where she's at. Ask the host for help and keep them kind of included as well. That helps sometimes, because the host was the one that initially got in touch with them and invited them.
And if anybody wants to become a PC, do they join as a PC to you, Christa?
Yes, unless the host decides to become a consultant.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And do you find as well, once you've got them as a PC, are you sort of just continuously keeping contact with them over the year until their renewal comes up? Do you find that something you have sort of a profile in each one, and you just, again, small and often do contact, maybe post them a free sample now and again if a new range has just been launched? Do you take that on board for yourself to keep them? Because, when we see all the zeros and web stats, that's mean that they believed you and they haven't heard from you for a long time. It's down to you to get back into that. Do you do that, Christa?
I do that. And when you do, and most times you become friends with them on Facebook. That way you can share, more things when you go back and forth. And I just have received an order from a preferred client that signed up in 2012. And she is no longer a preferred client, but she had her ID. I was in touch with her with email and all, never heard back from her. And beginning of this month, and I'm like, oh, someone went shopping, because I think it was like the 2nd or the 3rd of June. And I go in and because it's been 3 years, and at some point when they never ever get back to you, just kind of like, all right, it's just, you're going to have to put that to rest and go on to the next person. So I see her name and I'm like, her name rings a bell. Who is she? So I kind of went over my emails, and because I saw her email address, and I just did a search button in my emails, and I found all of my old correspondences with her and found out that she used to be a preferred client. But back in 2013 or 14, that expired, but she kept my information. She kept her ID. She went shopping under her ID, unfortunately as a client, not a preferred client. So she did pay retail. I called Arbonne. They said there's nothing we can do, but I got in touch with her and say, hey, welcome back to Arbonne. It's been 3 years. And just get her a little bit more information as a, you know, in the future, go shopping as a preferred client. Here's my information. I moved back to the States. So yes, I am, even with the people that tried the products, and you know how we have people, they do it once and then never again, but I'm linked with them on Facebook now, and you see when their birthday's coming up, or you see when they have a post, that just kind of every once in a while just chip in, you know, and then you never know, like 3 years later, she all of a sudden out of the blue places an order, you know. So yes, I stay in touch with those people. I stay in touch with the preferred clients, even the ones that did not renew. Every once in a while, I just send them an email and say, it's been a while. I just wanted to say that I'm still here. If you know, how the time is, and if you want to know or find more products, get in touch with me. So yeah, I do that, definitely.
Great. And do you ever send them, so when the new catalogs come out with the new products, maybe if, you know, you're not always having to send new products, that's your samples, but would you send a new catalog, like Christmas as well? We have a different catalog too, you know, throughout the year, with like, as well as that, I'll do, you know, I'll put in one of these sheets as well, because I feel sometimes that if they see the difference, that how much discount they're getting on that second column, like I'll highlight it and say, look, this is your discount. So make sure that, you know, if you're thinking of buying this or that, you know, there's a big difference there. Just to remind them what a great deal they're getting, that you know, they could use that. So, because not everybody's virtual. I mean, the oldies, that's me, you know, the 40 plus, you know, I still like paper, like I have my paper diary. So would you
40 plus.
Would you ask them if they would like that catalog? Because not everybody's, some people visual, some people kinesthetic, some people, you know, how would you go about that?
I do, not really when the new catalog come out, but when the Christmas catalog comes out, I go over all my preferred clients, and a lot of them are that I met in Japan, and they're all over the world now. So I get in touch with them and say, hey, the Christmas catalog is about to come out, and just wanted to see if you want to have a hard copy to look at. So, but I always ask them first, rather than sending everybody one, because you know, otherwise you're just gonna throw out the money. So yes, I do that. I get in touch with them, and I do have one preferred client. She's a lot of preferred clients seem to be in Hawaii. She's in Hawaii, and she always wants a catalog to look at. But she's been placing orders every like 4, 5, 6 months. She does the RE9, she does the Genius, and she actually does the sunscreen for her pets. Believe it or not, the baby sunscreen for her dogs. So yes, I do that as well. But again, I ask them if they want one, and if they say no, then I don't even gonna, you know, otherwise you just spend all that money and nobody's gonna take care.
Okay, thank you so much, Christa. I'm just going to hand back to Danny, because I know she's got to go in a minute and to wrap up the call. But from me to you, Christa, love you so much. You have stayed through. You know, I don't know how many people would have stuck at it like you did, even not having permission to work your business. You found another way. I know, exactly. And that's what we do. It's about creating, thinking out of the box, thinking of ideas, thinking of different ways. So I'm super proud of you. And I'm just going to let Danny wrap it up. Thanks, Christa.
Yes, thank you so much, Christa. Like I said, I've made so many notes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type all this up so the team can see it on paper or typed up and be able to watch this call as well. You have been a fountain of knowledge. So thank you so much. It's really well appreciated. And I think that all of us that are going to be watching this call now and are going to watch it later on recorded are going to be able to take something from this, because even if some of us haven't got the same issue that you have and living in a different country, we can still benefit from technology, and technology is taking off. And if we all take advantage of this and get into other people's networks and getting hosts and getting into their network, I think we're all going to see a massive boom in our QVs, in our paychecks, in the team. And I think this is all going to stem from your information, and for Fiona for getting you onto this call and saying how great and amazing you are. And Fiona was spot on. You are brilliant. So thank you so much for this call. It's been really great. Thank you, Christa.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Have a good night.
And have a good afternoon for you.
Yes, it's nice and hot outside.
Enjoy
Good time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.